Hello, my name is Brent Morris, and you're back at Catholic Charities Where to Turn, our ongoing series regarding employment security issues, financial literacy, etc. Today's topic is about hot jobs that are available during the pandemic. This information is just about 1 month old, not even 1 month old, from March 15th. We're going to discuss 5 jobs today that are available and are hot jobs in the pandemic. Every job is not, of course, pandemic friendly. We know that we've talked about in the past some jobs that were not so friendly, serving jobs in restaurants or jobs that required a lot of crowds for them to be successful. Those have taken a big hit. But it might be surprising to you today that the 5 jobs we're going to talk about are not all high tech. They're not even jobs necessarily that you have to do from your house. These are jobs that are in great demand right now because the economy is starting to pick up again. The pandemic is starting to loosen up just a little bit. And we would encourage you, if you haven't got your shot yet, to think about that, because that's the best way for us to get back on track economically, is for everybody to be able to go to work, and everybody be able to shop, and everybody be able to get out. So our number one job, the most requested job, according to LinkedIn, this time, right now going on, is animal groomer, which may come as some of a surprise. But when I looked into this a little bit further, people who were home during the pandemic, a lot of them picked up animals. They wanted someone to do the pandemic with, to do the whole time, from March to now. They wanted a companion, and they got dogs or they got cats. And now those same animals that they've had for this length of time are parts of the family. They want to keep them, etc., and they want to get them groomed. And a lot of the places that do that, a lot of the animal pet stores, etc., that also do grooming, can't find enough people to do that. So if you're interested in that, if you have any experience with it, now is a great time to get a job as a groomer. And you may not have experience with it. It may be something that you have to go get some training on, or they may even be willing to train you on it. If you go someplace that does grooming, they might be able to help you with that, but get you into that job. That's not a job that's going to pay fantastic money, but it's a job that you can get into and establish some work history, and you might love it. It might be something that you just want to do. In fact, I know personally, I know at least 3 people that have done that and have really established nice careers for themselves, because it's a service that a lot of people really look for. They want someone to help with their pets, and of course, pets are part, as I said, part of the family. People treat them as they would a child almost. So pet grooming, animal grooming, is the number one hot job right now. The number 2 hot job also makes sense when you think about it, and that is pharmacy tech. If you have any experience, I just talked to someone this past week who was looking for a job now after having been out of the workforce for a while, and she has pharmacy tech experience. So she's going to have a leg up on getting a job, because that's a very high demand job right now. Of course, we all know that a lot of drugstores and pharmacies are giving the shot, giving the vaccinations. And so while other people are doing that, they need somebody else to help them in the pharmacy tech, in seeing customers either at the drive-through windows or as people walk up. So if that's something that interests you, again, that might be something that you could get into even without training, as an entry-level job, and it might be something that you could keep, and you might be able to stay with it as you move forward in your career. So dog groomer number 1, or animal groomer, I should say, and number 2, pharmacy technician. The third most popular job is retail sales, and that's no surprise. If we had done this survey 10 years ago or 50 years ago or 100 years ago, salesman, someone who can sell, men or women, of course, is always going to be popular. It's always going to be necessary. Some people have a salesman's personality, if you will. And what do I mean by that? I mean somebody who is able to talk to all groups of people, who is has the gift of gab, as people would call it, and able to carry on conversations with people. Sales, for the most part, comes down to being able to carry on a conversation with someone. You have to know your product, of course, and there's 1,000 different products out there that are all looking for people to sell them. But you also then have to be able to understand that any kind of rejection you get is not personal. You have to be willing to say that was just not the person I was meant to talk to. The most successful salesmen absolutely love their job. They don't look at it as work. It's just an opportunity to meet people, to talk to them, to hear their story, to tell them about whatever product they have, and then go forward from there. So if you've never tried it, but you thought, well, that might be something I would like, or I really like some product. Maybe you like cars, and you love to talk about cars. You love to know everything about them. You like to talk about their features. You like to talk about engine sizes, et cetera, et cetera. And if you've said, well, I've never tried to be a car salesman or anything because I'm a little scared of it, maybe now's the time. Maybe now's a good time for you to get into a different career than you've ever had, because the pandemic has given you an opportunity. We say that the pandemic has taken away a lot of opportunities, and that's true. But the pandemic has also created opportunities for us by forcing maybe you, if you're in a job or a profession that has had difficulty during the pandemic, maybe it's forced you to say, what else can I do? A lot of times we get in this lock mind thing. We can see things only one way. I am only and fill in the blank, whatever you've done in your life or in your career. And that's really not true of anybody. We all have various talents. You, whoever's watching this, you have many talents. You have many abilities. Some of them you've used on a job. Some of them you've used in a career maybe. But maybe now you need to change, or you have to change. You have lots more abilities than what you're giving yourself credit for in most cases. That's not always the case, but having done this job for a while, I can tell you, most people underestimate their abilities, their skills, rather than overestimate. They may overestimate in a specific category, but as far as the sheer number of abilities and talents people have, they usually sell themselves short. So sales might be one of those things that you have and you're good at. You know, there's also no shame at all in saying, I'm going to try it, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to move it onto something else. There's no shame in saying that. And anyone who's done sales for a while will tell you that some people it doesn't fit them. They're not bad people. They're not dumb. They're not anything. It just doesn't fit for them. Not a good fit. Any job that's out there, a particular skill set fits that job. And you may be a teacher, and we've all had teachers who were fantastic teachers, who they could teach you out of the phone book, and you just sit there in rapt attention because they were good at it. They had passion for it. And we've probably had teachers, if you've been around a while, who didn't seem very passionate about whatever they were teaching, and who were not great teachers. Frankly, they just didn't have that skill set. So we want to find something that matches up with us in this pandemic time. Again, while it's also been tragic in 100 different ways, is a time for us to say, maybe it's a reset for me. Maybe I can try something different. All right, our fourth most popular job is also perennial, one that's been around forever, and that is warehouse worker. Again, if you step back for just a second, this makes sense, because what have people been doing during the pandemic? They've been ordering stuff off the internet. They've been picking up the phone and calling and saying, hey, I want to get this and this and this, because they're at home all the time. They're seeing all these ads, etc. So warehouses are trying to find people out there. Now, I run into a lot of people that have warehouse experience. And if you have warehouse experience, if you're able to hire now, if you have transportation, I'll say this in the Kansas City area, if you're able to be mobile, then you could almost pick a job. There's probably 10 different companies hiring warehouse workers right now. Some of them, again, you have to have transportation because they might be on the Kansas side. They might have a late shift that doesn't have a bus that's available. So all that you have to look into, but warehouse experience is very valuable right now. So I know sometimes people think of, I referenced this earlier, sometimes people think of jobs that are hot and they must be high tech or they must be in the IT field, etc. No, warehouse. knowing how to run a warehouse, operate in a warehouse. Perhaps you know how to do a forklift. Perhaps you know how to run even a pallet jack. That's a valuable skill to have. And that's the fourth most popular job. I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to spend too much time more on that. But the fifth is also one that is common. A lot of people have this experience, and that is as a cashier. Grocery stores, pharmacies that we mentioned before, any kind of retail that's opened up, or maybe the grocery stores obviously have been open for the whole time and have provided a great resource. They were, second line workers behind the healthcare workers and stuff. Those jobs are still out there. And I know I have a family member that works at a grocery store here in the metro area, and they're having a hard time finding enough people for a variety of reasons. People have sort of been scared to be a cashier, but again, as more people are getting their shots, everyone at this relative's work has had shots supplied because they work in the grocery area. That's been a big benefit. So as a cashier, whether it's at a grocery store I mentioned, whether it's at some other retail, pharmacy, whatever, that's a very needed job right now, and a job that's a hot job. There's lots of vacancies out there for cashiers, not because it's difficult or not because people don't know how to do it, but just because of the supply and demand. So let's review our top 5. Number 1 is animal groomer. If you've ever wanted to do it or if you have experience, now's the time. Number 2 is a pharmacy tech. Again, it's a little bit specialized, but you might be able to start at the bottom, start as a trainee on it, and you might be able to get into a career you never thought about because they have a good need for it. Number 3 is retail sales of all varieties, all shapes and sizes. You could sell everything from carpets to cars, from everything from pets to I don't know, power mowers. I mean, just anything you can think of, salesmen are needed. Number 4 is warehouse. Being able to work in a warehouse, having experience that everything doesn't have to be taught to you is super valuable. And so that would be the 4th thing. And number 5 is as a cashier. Those 5 jobs are the hot jobs right now. According to the research, according to what jobs are being posted and being asked for service companies to find these jobs. So those 5 jobs are not real high tech. Those 5 jobs are something that anyone might have the experience maybe in their past. And if you don't, go and ask and apply and say, I'm willing to be here. And we'll talk next week maybe about what's the most important ability to have. And I'll give you a little hint. It's availability. But we'll talk more about that next week. Our time is just about up. Thank you very much. If you're looking for work, remember these 5 areas. If you don't like those, don't worry about it. Send me an email at bmorris@ccharities.com and tell me what you like. Say, I don't like any of that. I want to be a nurse. I want to be an astronaut, whatever it is. We'll see what we can do. Astronaut, that takes a while. Nurse, that takes a while, but it's a great job to be in. Number 1, it's something you can do anywhere. There's always a need for nurses. Number 2, you're helping people. And number 3, it pays pretty well. So anyway, if you want something else, again, ask bmorris@ccharities.com. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week. Bye.